All right, welcome back Under the Rug. And today we have an interesting topic. What we are going to address today is the topic of blind loyalty. Now, some of you may not know exactly what blind loyalty is, so let me give you a quick rundown. Blind loyalty can exist in many different arenas. It can exist politically, it can exist when it comes to religion, it can exist when it comes to the workforce, if you are on the police force. And I think, to give you an example, we are experiencing a lot of blind loyalty right now in the United States when it comes to the U.S. police force and the killing of not only unarmed black men, but, we have a lot of victims that are being killed unnecessarily in the United States. And a lot of the police force are just turning a blind eye and taking up for their co-workers. This is what we call blind loyalty, where you refuse to see the obvious truth just to remain loyal to a particular group that you are a part of or that you lend your loyalty to. And I think this is a dangerous practice because what it does is it stops progress. It stops progress politically, most importantly, and this is where we have people, especially in this country, we have a lot of people that are just loyal to their party, and there's nothing you can tell them that's wrong about their party or about their leader or their MP, anyone who they lend their allegiance to. There's nothing negative you can say about them that they would allow to seep in, no matter how factual it may be. And to join me on this discussion, we're going to make it a short one because Leyvon has to run, but I really appreciate him for taking the time out of his busy schedule to make it here. We have Mr. Leyvon Miller. He's been on the podcast before. I would like to welcome him back to join in this discussion. And we also have my good cousin, Renaldo Collie. Now, gents, let's discuss blind loyalty. What exactly does blind loyalty mean to you? And do you feel as though you are a victim, well, let me not say victim, if you are a perpetrator of blind loyalty in any sense?
Well, good afternoon, Greg. I don't see myself as perpetrating blind loyalty on any level. I do, though, understand the importance of following an order, even if you don't understand it at the onset. Mm-hmm. And, of course, that comes from my experience in my career that I had as a Defense Force Marine. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you do not see things from where the commander sees it.
Okay.
And it's simply because you're not privy to information. We are the sum totals of our life experiences. And so the commander makes a call. Mm-hmm. Not because what you said wasn't a good idea, but because he is seeing what you've said before. Because he's had more time than you and he sits at a higher level in the totem pole than you. And so sometimes to question his decision at the onset can cost lives. So sometimes you have to go along with complying.
Well, hold on. Now, I'm not just talking about compliance now. I understand what you're saying, but that's not quite what I'm referring to.
Okay.
What I'm referring to is, let's say the commander makes a bad decision. Mm-hmm. You know it's a bad decision, but you champion that decision and you support that decision.
Okay.
Not just falling in line and doing it, well, that's the commander, let me do it. But you are actually saying, you know what, commander, that's a great decision, knowing that it's a bad decision. That's what I'm really speaking to. When you champion something, knowing it may not be the best decision or be in the best interest of you or somebody else, but you still champion it just because you like the particular person making that decision.
Well, let me tear up a page of Hubert Ingham's book. I think he calls it scatterbrain. It is the most scatterbrain idea to follow somebody just without any sort of impediment. I have people, I know people that say that if Perry Christie peed off the roof of a house and wet up all their children, they would still vote PLP. If he sold all their children into slavery, they would still vote PLP. I have a very dear friend of mine that tells me when it comes to the campaign trail, don't talk to him about the things that make sense. He knows he going in that box and he getting a vote for the PLP.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about.
That is scatterbrain.
Okay.
But again, like I said, in the other instance, which I made reference to before that, sometimes you just have to follow blindly, not because you're ignorant, but because that will save lives.
Okay. Now look, Now, I can call you out a little bit on this one. Now, and I don't know, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but if we were to go from just off of your Facebook post alone, is it safe to say that you are a PLP supporter?
Yeah, you could say that.
Okay, now, I personally feel as though you possess blind loyalty when it comes to your PLP party. So, do you see it that way, or do you think your support is justified? Give us, tell us about your support for the party and why, and whether or not you feel it's blind loyalty, or if you feel it's not and you are objective.
Well, Greg, if you follow my post, but you know there's many times when my party do foolishness, I hit them. And I hit them
I don't
hard.
see it now. I don't know. I hear you say that now, but I don't see it on Facebook.
Greg.
I don't see it. I see you come out with your swords blazing, your guns blazing anytime someone says something against the PLP or a PLP member. So I don't know. Maybe you do, but maybe you just don't publicize it.
Greg, when we had in 2014, when we had the strike, I went after Shane Gibson.
You mean the BTC?
Customs and Immigration.
Oh,
strike.
Customs and Immigration. Okay, sorry.
I went after Shane Gibson hard.
Okay.
And that's a good friend of mine.
Okay.
But if you're doing something what is wrong, I can let you know you're doing wrong. Okay? When my party did some things that I didn't agree with, I spoke out about it. Right? I believe in the philosophy of what the Progressive Liberal Party stood for. Right? And that was the founding principles of it. Has the PLP lost its way recently? Yes, it has. A lot of things that they've done.
Wow, that is a big statement.
They've a lot of things that
but
I've
you
seen
still
them
support
do.
them even though they've lost their way.
The thing, like I say, right? I support the philosophy of what the PLP stands for.
Okay.
I could appreciate that.
Okay. Can you let us know what this philosophy is? Because I don't know what the philosophy of the PLP is.
The PLP,
personally.
The PLP is always for the downtrodden, the small man. The PLP has always been for building up the nation. And if you look at the institutions that the PLP has built for over the past 40 years, it's there. Right now, the PLP just passed the University of the Bahamas bill, and they've now made the University of the Bahamas more autonomous, so they've freed it up from the bureaucracy of government, which was holding that institution back for so many years. And so those are some of the things that I support. There are a lot of things that I don't support, like
what? Give us some examples.
Let me give you some examples.
Please.
A lot of the tax incentives that we give businesses.
Okay.
I think at the end of the day, let me give you one thing I can't stand.
Go ahead.
You know, we give cruise ships back 25% rebate on ticket tax.
No, I did not know that.
Okay. I absolutely hate and detest that. I've spoken out about it, and I will continue to speak out against it. I also don't like the fact that you will find with the small man has to pay a bill up front. The big guy gets away. And it happens under both governments.
But I thought the philosophy was, for the small man.
And listen, that's what I'm saying to you, right? In some instances, the persons in charge have lost their way. But the fact is the philosophy is still there. See, like I say, I support the philosophy. Now,
I could agree with that.
Now, at the end of the day, that doesn't make me blind following. I support the philosophy.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that I follow who's there.
Yeah.
But do you see yourself lending your allegiance to anyone outside of that party?
Outside of that party?
Yeah.
Again, where I've aligned myself with a philosophy.
No, man, but that ain't what I asked you now.
Greg.
Do you see yourself lending your allegiance to anyone outside of that party? That's a simple question.
I will go on record and say this, right?
Okay.
I supported Honorable Michael Akita's last election.
Okay.
I will support him again. Why? Because I've seen what he's done in Golden Isles. He's done a good job.
Now see, again.
That's.
Now you being now, I don't talk to politicians. And I say all the time, I don't like them. And right now, you're sounding like a politician. Because what you're doing is, you got on some for Michael Bottom shoes and you tap dancing around this question like crazy. It's a simple question. Do you see yourself supporting anybody outside of that party? See, this is what I'm talking about the blind loyalty. Like you've already stated that they have lost their way in recent times, meaning they are not upholding this philosophy that what you lend your allegiance to. This philosophy is what you said that you are aligned with.
I understand where you're coming from. That.
So if somebody was to come and offer themselves and they actually are putting the philosophy of the PLP in practice, but they are not active members of the Progressive Liberal Party, would you lend your support behind that person?
I'm going to say it again, Greg. I'm going to say it again,
And
Greg.
this, folks, is exactly what blind loyalty is.
No, mind, Greg. It isn't exactly blind loyalty. What I'm saying to you is this, right? That at the end of the day, right? Right? I judge a man by his actions, right? Halkidas has been one who has put action behind his words. He's done what he said he's going to do, and that's why I will support him. Now, I'm not going to give up Shaw for unsure. And
You're not
that's
going to
what you have
give
to
up.
look
Hold
at.
on. You're not going to give up Shaw
For unsure.
I have one question coming out of this whole day.
Go ahead.
The election is about 10 months away. I mean, based on the schedule we've been keeping for the last 20 years, right? If your house burns down tomorrow night and you have to move into South Beach, Cleola Hamilton is down there. She's not been the best representative. I don't think any PLP in the world is impressed with her. Would you still vote for Cleola Hamilton?
I'm gonna sit down. I gotta look at that.
I think we know the answer, Leyvon.
I gotta look at that. I mean, to be honest with you,
Farm Road is in shambles. If you had to move into Farm Road and possibly use an outside toilet and tote water from the pump, would you still vote for Barry Christie?
why would I go to use the outside toilet though?
You may remember now. Your house burned down. I gave you the most extreme of circumstances.
Okay, right.
Your house burned down.
In the
your
most
life is in ruins.
in the most extreme of circumstances, right? At the end of the day,
You'd move by Greg,
I still have my job. I go in by Greg.
and at least he'd be able to justify voting for Melanie.
I guess because listen to me, brother. I can't go.
But see, and this is why I want to talk about this, because I feel as though I would go on a limb and say, most people are like that. They attach themselves to either a person or a party or some sort of entity, and they latch themselves to it for life.
But
regardless of what may take place in between the time of their birth to their death.
yeah,
They latch themselves.
Let me share something interesting, right? You know how Ingram was able to win in '92? Ingram made the FNM more PLP than the PLP.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know about that. But
Okay. Let me tell you what it means, right? What it means is this, right? Ingram made the FNM from a conservative party to a more liberal progressive party during his tenure.
Now, see, and that's the thing. You say that, right? Which would, I think you are insinuating that the PLP, their philosophy is their name, Progressive Liberal Party. Now, if you ask me, the only letter that they got right is the last P.
yeah.
They sure could throw a party.
Yeah.
You understand?
Nobody chose a party like
But
that.
there's nothing, in my opinion, this is just observant. And this, I am completely objective, because I've said all the time, I hate all of them.
Right.
I can't stand PLP or FNM.
Yeah.
And the DNA seems to be going right along that same path. So I can't stand any of them. So this is not me saying this because I'm an FNM. I can't stand none. The only thing they do right in their name is party. I don't see anything that's progressive or liberal about them. They are extremely conservative party.
So, Greg, taking the University of Bahamas in a progressive
And very
and liberal
redundant.
It's I haven't seen it yet.
In 2016,
It's already been passed.
But in 2000,
When has it been passed?
That was
Last week
passed
sometime. Last week
No,
sometime.
2 weeks ago.
When is the election?
When was the election?
next.
No, but Greg, this was
What
a
I'm
process
saying
that-
is,
no,
this
Greg,
is
was
what
a
they
process
do.
that had been rushed, you know.
No, but this is what they do. The same thing, just like, and just to show you it's not a pick on the PLP fest, right? The FNM did the same thing. Before they went out of office, what did they do? Look, we passed the Freedom of Information Act. Never enacted it. But they just pass it to say, look, man, we do it.
No, but Greg, the difference is, right? No, this is what I'm saying to you, right?
Okay.
The University Act and regulations have been passed.
Okay.
Right? Most times you'll have an act passed, but there's no regulations enacted. Both were passed and enacted at the same time.
No, but I mean, it's not an accomplishment in 2016.
Secondly, on top of that, right? Top of that, along with moving to university, they've implemented a lot of new programs in place. Secondly, they have implemented the partnership with the University of Miami, which is now going to allow for us to have the first ever medical school that will be starting in Freeport. So that is something they're going to be pushing. Now, this is a part of the education platform that's a bipartisan issue.
Okay.
So it isn't something that's coming from a pure political standpoint, but it's something that was started under a political platform. Do you get where I'm coming from?
No, because I'm cynical.
I hear him. I hear him.
Uh-huh.
Right? And you know what gets me about the PLP, right? The PLP reminds me of do you ever play poker?
No, I don't play poker.
most poker players play poker in the smallest, darkest room in the back of the building with one light bulb coming out of the ceiling. And they celebrate the fact that, boy, this light bulb working so good. This light bulb's working this good because it's in the smallest, darkest corner of the entire house.
Where no light exists.
Where there's no light.
Right.
I can't continue to throw confetti in the air because you, in 2016, enacted the University of the Bahamas when we were talking about it. I just talked to a teacher friend of mine who said she graduated in 2010 and they were promising a university then. You know what I mean? So you've had 5 years, and you've had the 5 years before that, eh? And I heard Jerome Fitzgerald on the radio the other day saying, man, nope, everybody talking about me. I created the GED. Hoorah, one clap. Right? That is not an accomplishment in 2016.
Right.
And I know people say, oh, that's the problem with y'all new generation children. You all figure everything is overnight. I figure everything is overnight. I just don't figure everything is 43 years in the making.
Exactly.
And
even so, a lot of those things still haven't come to fruition as yet after 43 years.
Because they're skeletons. And here's the thing, right? Blind loyalty, in my estimation, can happen almost without a second or without any thought being given to it. I've said publicly that if Hubert Ingram ran with 37 Joneses, I would vote for him.
That's an example of blind loyalty.
That is my blind loyalty isn't to the man. My blind loyalty is to the fact that I'm, as a 30-year-old, I've not had a life that was inclusive of the legacy of Lyndon Pinling. I inherited Lyndon Pinling's legacy. Everything that I know of him is what I've been told. I have, though, seen Hubert Ingram in action, and I have Perry Christie to compare him to.
And if you had to choose,
if I have to pick, this is a no-brainer.
Right.
I don't care who on Hubert Ingram's ticket. I will vote for him if the choice is between him and Christie. And that is because I understand the way our democracy runs. We run a democratic dictatorship or a democratic monarchy of sorts, if you ask me, because once he's elected prime minister, he's king.
Right.
And if you're asking me, who do I want to be king? Certainly. I feel the same way about Perry Christie being king as I feel about God wanting Saul to be king. They said that...
Oh, you got to realize now.
I understand.
I know Christians, so
no. But
these stories...
I'm giving people that follow the Bible in any way will... The Bible only makes mention of God repenting one time, and that was for making Saul king. That's how I feel about... I feel like Perry Christie should never be prime minister of anything ever.
But then again, he's been prime minister twice.
You hear what I say to you? I personally...
But see, I mentioned that because this is what I'm getting at. This is the danger of blind loyalty. Yeah. You have a Perry Christie being prime minister twice.
Yeah.
You have a Donald Trump winning the Republican nomination.
Well, here's the thing, though.
You understand?
I don't think Donald's situation is blind loyalty. I think Donald's situation is...
Why isn't it blind loyalty?
I'll tell you why. I think
loyalty?
Politics worldwide has been bastardized so much by the children of the rich that people... And Donald Trump is a rich guy, but people are sick of that. People no longer want, and here's it. We're having it in our own politics where Hubert Minnis, with his $10.8 million, declared as the richest man in Parliament, is talking some hogwash about how grassroots he is, right? What it seems as though is that politics over the last 4 or 5 decades has been an exploitation of the poor. When the prime minister can...
Hold on, you said how much years?
Over the past 5 decades.
Okay, sorry. I just said, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, decades has been an exploitation of the poor. When the prime minister can get up at a rally of Haitian Bahamians and say, I see you out there in your t-shirts that says I am one of them. Well, I've come here today to tell you that I am one of them too. That is exploitation of poor people. Yeah. That is exploitation. These people have been put in a conundrum. They can't go nor come, as my Grammy would say. And it is because of the position or the situation that the state allows.
Yeah, but
Guess who's in charge of the state?
No, but then again, how do we compare that to Donald Trump, though? I mean,
I'm saying the reason Donald Trump has seen the success he's seen is because I am of the opinion that people equate him with, oh my God, this is not just another politician. Or, oh my God, at least this isn't one of those other lying people.
But that's Donald also blind loyalty too, though. And let me tell you why it's blind loyalty, because guess what? It plays to their various biases, right? You have persons who are racist, right? And because you've never had someone speak to their racial view in a political sense, they are able to equate to that.
I guess.
Misogynist, the same thing. Right, and of course, what baffles me the most in the United States?
I get tender when I hear the word misogynist.
Right? Let's look at the United States. Right, you realize that the rural Republican voters, Right? Say they don't want government subsidies, they don't want this, but they're the ones living off government subsidies.
Exactly.
Right? You look at some of those politicians like Michelle Bachmann. You look at Paul Ryan, right? These are the guys who get agricultural subsidies right now, but they're saying that a person living off welfare, who, as a matter of fact, cannot do any better for themselves, must go and do better for themselves when the government, the biggest welfare queens, are the biggest corporations in America.
Agreed. And I think when people see Donald Trump, I think they see a moving away from that. Donald Trump
is a misrepresentation of reality.
You sound like you kind of like.
I am
the Donald
absolutely
he's a
not
Trump
at all. I am
supporter.
absolutely not at all a Trump supporter.
Okay.
But I'm saying Donald Trump. I'm trying to find someone in Bahamian politics that I can equate him to. No one
Leslie
comes.
Miller.
Leslie is not as boorish as that.
No.
It's not as what?
As boorish.
You think so?
No, I
Leslie's
don't
not as boorish
think
as
you
Donald.
can compare.
I think-
Leslie
I
to
You
think-
will
Trump.
not hear Leslie say, "Let's build a wall."
Listen to me.
Cross the Windward Passage.
But
to
you
keep
would
all
hear him
nations.
say, "Let's put all the gays and
On a
guys and
T?
put on a boat." That's worse.
I guess.
So Leslie Miller to me
is as boorish
is worse
than Donald Trump?
than Donald Trump by far.
Well-
I have never heard Donald Trump said how bad he beat up his girlfriend and laugh about it.
But he did say beat up a
I've
black
never
man.
heard. Well, let me know.
But he did say all Muslims are criminals, or all
No,
all terrorists are criminals.
And, no,
Muslims.
no,
what
no,
he
no,
said
no,
was
no, no, but-
he made a. And here's the thing, and this is what people do.
And that is a poor innuendo for a man
No, but
that
this-
wants to be leader of the free
No,
world.
I agree. Trust me, I agree. But here's the thing, and this is the danger. When you misquote somebody, you then give the supporters an opportunity to discredit what you're saying.
Right.
He didn't say all.
He said all
That word,
terrorists.
No, that word wasn't. And I don't know if you're which statement you're referring to.
The statement that I heard was not all Muslims are terrorists, but all terrorists are Muslims,
and that's not correct.
and that is an incorrect
Well,
statement.
I didn't hear that one.
He did say that.
I didn't hear that. Well, I don't know. I didn't hear that one.
It was during
I thought
the
you were going to
it
talk
was
about the
during time when
Mexicans
he
one.
was talking about the apartheid-like regulation of
Okay.
having people walk around with
but
identification
you know what's
cards
interesting?
and
But
et
you know
cetera,
what's
et cetera.
interesting, right? Here's a man who wants to lead the world's most
Largest economy.
the largest economy, but also the world's most famous democracy, the world's first really true democracy, right?
Haiti was. You can't take that from the Haitian
Okay.
people because they black.
Yeah,
they don't
that's
like
it.
to talk about that.
Yeah, they don't like that's
Yeah.
true. Okay, all right. We'll
Haiti
hesitate.
actually helped America get
That's
their
right.
independence.
That's
you know
true.
that?
So
Toussaint Duvalier won independence with a cutlass.
So
me see
let's
America
talk.
do that.
But let's talk about that issue, right? Here's a man who wants to lead what they call the shining beacon of democracy, but he supports the fact that China runs autocratic. He supports the fact that Putin kills journalists. He said it. It's very interesting that the very people who talk about freedom, they're supporting a man that supports persons who don't. And he's getting his support from these people.
Because this is what
And I
this.
think that is in people's protest to the sickening distaste they have in their mouth for politicians. When Perry Christie gets up at 73, man, and says that he's been talking to the youth, and they say that they need him to stay on so that he doesn't destabilize the PLP, please, every youth that said this, raise your hand for me, please. I won't be able to identify you all clearly. See, that kind of stuff almost leaves a vomit-like taste in people's mouth. Like, people are sick. You cannot convince me that Perry Christie is still the best man to lead this country. And the fact that you live in this bubble where you and I tell him the only young PLP that could have told him, stay on, other than that it will destabilize the party, had to be his daughter. That have to be the only one.
I think I would agree with you on
And
that.
I'm saying to you that people, the electorate, if you look at it, we are 10 months out from an election.
Right.
By now, if you remember the way politics goes around here, there would have been F&M and PLP flags on everything by now. People would have been letting their war colors be known. People aren't doing that because they still trying to pray for a bolt of lightning to come and strike Branville McCartney with a sense of intuitiveness that he may be able to convince them to let him be.
You think so? I don't think so.
He don't have
I'm
that.
telling you,
He
he
doesn't
doesn't have it.
He doesn't have
I
it.
think-
Because the whole issue is this. Most people on the ground, you talk to them, they see him just as another version of Ingram.
I don't even think they see him as that.
But this is exactly what it goes to. And this is how blind loyalty works in another way. Is when you don't like somebody, and we work off a system of who you like.
yeah.
Your policy, all of that stuff
politics
don't
is about
matter.
who you like. It is
As
who you like.
long as you like a particular individual or ideal, you will block out anything that's negative and letting everything that's. I'm telling you.
Are you now calling us Neanderthals then? Is that what you're saying?
No, we are not Neanderthals. What we do is we just block off that part of objectivity. We become subjective as opposed to objective. You understand? And this is like you said. Some people will only see Branville McCartney in a certain vein. No matter what he does, no matter what he says, nothing is going to change their minds because they probably don't like him and they've already made it up in their minds that this is who he is. Nothing is going to change that.
But Greg, you want to know something very interesting? If you do real polling data, you'll find something that will strike both of you. This country is only F&M or PLP.
I disagree. No.
I think that is changing. And I think that is a misnomer that will cost the PLP the next election.
Here's why I disagree.
Greg, it's not.
Well, here's why.
Honestly, okay, right? While the swing voter category has grown, the others have grown too.
72%.
It ain't that
in
high.
the next general election,
It ain't that high.
In the next general election,
It ain't that high.
72% of the electorate will be people under the age of 50. 52 or 3% will be people that are first-time voters or under the age of 25.
Well, right now, 65% of the population are under 35 already. At that point,
But here's my thing.
35.
I'm interested to know, what would make you say something like that?
What's that?
That most people are either F&M or PLP
But you look
in
at
this
the
time.
But you look at the numbers, Greg. And I mean the thing is, you only could look at the numbers.
Tell me which numbers.
The raw numbers.
The ones in the election.
You look at the raw.
You mean election
population.
results,
You
right?
look at the
Okay,
raw
let
results.
me show you how that can be misleading. And people say numbers don't lie. Okay, I'll give you numbers don't lie. But context is important.
Okay, let's look at
And
the
here's
context
the
of numbers,
context.
right?
Here's the context.
Both of those parties, right? If you look at it, right? If you remove the swing voters out of it, both of those parties, between the two of them, each of them have about 60,000
But
votes.
how do you know the swing
60,000
voters?
votes,
How do you know
right?
who are swing voters?
Let's extrapolate it again. Okay, in 2002, right? 2002, the PLP had 68,000 votes. The F&M had 64,000.
Okay.
2007, the F&M got 67,000. The PLP had 64,000.
Okay.
Right? 2012, the PLP had 75,000. The F&M had 65,000.
Okay.
So if you look at it, between each of them right then and there, right, there was a large new swing of new voters that came in that actually voted for the first time. We've never had that amount of young people vote in an election before.
But
That was
these
the
are,
first time you had a lot of people under the age of 25.
you
truly
recognize
voted like
you recognize that these are assumptions you are making based off looking at numbers, right?
But
Here's the thing.
okay,
And this is what a lot of people like to leave out. If, for the majority of our existence, or I would damn near say all of our existence, maybe outside of last election, if we have had two major parties, it's either this or that one, what do you expect the numbers to show? Either this or that one. So if we had, let's say if we had viable parties that contested along with them, and these viable parties that had all the same amount of members ran in every constituency and all of that, and you had those numbers for PLP and F&M, I would be more on your side to say that most people are PLP and F&M because they had these options and they just didn't take them. They went to these ones. If you only have two options,
but you always had other parties though.
Not major
When?
parties.
But the BDM always
Let's
ran.
not be
How many people
Who took
did they run?
Cassius Stewart serious?
No one took
What
him
is- what is
serious.
Cassius
No, but,
Stewart?
point.
But how many-
But he still
but how
ran
many-
people.
how many
What is
seats-
his daytime
He
profession?
still ran people. He ran.
No, but how many seats did he contest?
He
13,
ran.
I
He
think.
ran. No, he ran. I think
He's
with
never
20
ran-
something.
no,
He
13.
ran 20 something in 2002.
no
No.
way it was that much.
Yeah,
Here's
man.
the thing.
No
As
way.
one of Branville McCartney's greatest detractors, I'm sure, my issue with Brown has nothing to do with his personality, you know. My issue with Brown has everything to do with the fact that he has no policy base, which is why I disagree with
But
you.
who has?
Which is why I disagree with you when you say that people don't judge people based on their policy.
Who has?
The reason I like Hubert Ingram is because I realize that Ingram has a policy idea, which is to let us infrastructuralize the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And you could look at him and see that that's what he's been doing. His thing is, Pinland put in place institutions. The institutions will be there to take care of the people. Now, let's build a city around them. I think that made sense. There should have been a prime minister now, Mr. Christie, that came and now industrialized, and there's another word that's escaping me at this, technologize, if you will. I'm making it up. It's not a real word.
Okay.
The Commonwealth of the Bahamas. By now, Mr. Christie is supposed to be coming in place and putting in place e-government on a serious level.
That's being done.
on a serious level.
But it has been done.
If it's being done, then why the hell is there
Okay,
a
hold on.
backlog of
I
people
want-
down
hold
at
on.
the passport
I-
office?
I want to address something he said. He said he disagree that people don't vote for policy, right?
I disagree with you that people don't decide that they like or dislike somebody based on policy.
Right. This is exactly what I'm addressing.
Okay.
Right. Now, what's Hubert Minnis's policy?
You don't. I am sure.
What's Perry
You
Christie's
do not want to
policies?
ask me anything about Hubert Minnis.
No, but what are the policies?
Okay.
We don't.
You also don't wanna ask me
okay,
anything about Perry
let me ask
Christie.
you this: how many debates have we had on policies?
Let's talk about
None.
Dr. Dwayne Sands.
No, but
Somebody-
no,
let's
hold on,
talk-
we've not
You
had
are
any.
trying to get away from
Yeah,
what I am
we've not
getting
had-
at. I'm
that's
trying
true,
to
we've not
stay
had any.
on. You said you disagree that people make up their minds
We've
about
never-
who
yeah,
they
we-
support
we've never had
based
any
on
debates on it.
policies. What I'm trying to get
That's
at
the
is what would make you say that, and what evidence do you have to prove that people make their decisions based off of policies? Because
true.
we do not have policy debates in this country.
That's right, we've
The
never had
FNM
it.
has famously said, I think it was Carl Bettel, but this party don't do debates.
That's right.
So how can you say that people make their minds up whether they like or support somebody based on policies when we don't have debates, we don't discuss policies when it comes to whenever they make appearances or statements,
slightly
it's all
disingenuous.
based off of bashing the other party.
When you're a member of parliament, it's because of the way our democracy is set up. When your member of parliament comes to your door, do you know what you ask him? His policy positions. What's your idea?
Do you think most people do that?
I'm saying to you, but this
No, they
is,
don't, because they ask for fridge stores
This
and
is
everything
where
else.
the and I think those people you're all talking about in the electorate have shifted. A politician
No,
can give
boy.
me 6 fridge, that
No,
don't mean I
sir.
can vote for him. I'm
Yeah, but
saying
that's
to
you.
I'm
Right.
And there
You
are
are the normal-
and
you're
there
the
are
normal
men like
minority.
me that are coming up in this generation.
No, boy.
I'm sure a politician can come to your door and offer you 6 fridge and you won't vote for him either.
He ain't
Maybe
even-
7 fridge.
He ain't
They ain't
even
come and
do
do
that.
Maybe 7
Because they
fridge.
know.
I
Listen,
had-
they know who to come to.
Yeah,
they know who to come. Listen to me. They send their
But
feelers
that
out, you know.
strengthens my point.
They send their feelers out.
They go to the people. They go to the people. They go
And,
to
and
the-
those people still the majority. They
and I'm-
still the majority.
But what he made was an absolute statement that people in general do not vote based on policy, and
but that's the truth.
That's not accurate.
Why it's not accurate?
I have 3
The
people-
majority of people vote just like he said on
They are-
emotions. They don't vote
and
on
I'm
policy.
saying to you that the policy conversation needs to happen on a national platform and,
I
not,
agree.
and not at your front
But
door,
that's what he
which
was
is
saying.
where it
I agree.
happens.
But that's what he was
But
saying.
it
when,
doesn't.
when he comes to your front door, you say, so what is your plan? If you became
No,
the
but
member of parliament,
You're
though,
making
that
my
is a-
point.
You're making this point. You
You're
just
making my
cleared this
point.
point
That's
up.
what I'm saying. It does not happen on a national
Exactly.
level.
I'm saying
So you
to
don't know what the policy is. What is the
Not
policy?
because it's
All right,
not
let's
happening.
look at this question, right? What is the true policy difference right now, right? And let's be honest, between Loretta Butler Turner and Hubert Minnis.
Let me tell you. And forget Loretta Butler Turner. I
No,
don't
no,
wanna
no,
talk
no,
about-
no, 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 no. You can't dismiss Loretta. Let's talk about the two of them right now.
I'm gonna tell you.
There are two. These are the two in the spotlight right now. What is the policy difference
Let me
between those
tell
two?
you. First of all, I think Loretta Butler Turner is doing a wonderful job running a Dwayne Sands campaign. All of the policy positions that I heard her say, if you want my honest opinion.
Go ahead.
All of the policy positions that I've heard her
So
say.
you're saying she's the conduit for Sands?
Yes.
Okay.
But I think Dr. Sands has really salient political
so
policy.
what is his policy?
His
What-
policy
yeah.
is this: we've got to shrink we've got to shrink government so that power goes back into the House of Assembly. We've got to look at the way that we get corporate.
Shrink government like what? You mean the
You
executive?
shouldn't have a 23-member cabinet that you
Okay.
walk your backside in Parliament with, knowing full well, no matter what these other Negroes in your vote, we can come up with the majority.
Okay, so so you want to shrink?
I
the
think that's a
executive.
good idea.
I think so too.
Fine.
Also, he wants to get corporate citizens involved in the way we do our schooling in the Bahamas. I've said it a million times. That makes sense. The government of the Bahamas spends, I think, $80.6 million a year on education. We are not seeing the return on that investment. And it's because we just dump money.
So you want to corporatize the?
I do not want to corporatize. No, do not try to make me
Uh-huh.
sound like I'm big business.
Okay.
I'm talking about if I'm allowed to
I'm
call
listening.
businesses. Let's just say McDonald's
yes.
is running a wonderful business over here.
Right.
There are 6 schools in this area. McDonald's knows that in 20 years they will need 35 chefs. There are 24 people in this school. We now say to McDonald's, listen, let's see how much fry cooks we could get out of this school. McDonald's takes the school on and they cater to everybody educationally, but they now begin to say, Greg, look, he really could dip fries, good. And now they funnel him towards, and so you end up with specialty schools, which is what they attempted in the 90s. I also hear them talking about the reduction in school populations by the separation.
What's the incentive to make them do that? What's the incentive for you to make them
The
take
incentive
their revenue and
is
shrink
they
their
will
bottom
get
line?
government money to spend. and notoriety on a government level.
Okay, hold on. Let me.
So that means you don't shrink in the budget.
Hold on, no,
you just shifting the money around.
No, we ain't here to debate his policies. Now,
Right.
let me ask you.
Right.
Did you have these policy ideas
Right.
from your personal discussions with Dwayne Sands?
No, this is what I've heard them
Or this
saying
is-
on this.
I've never
whole
heard of this. You heard of it?
campaign.
Okay.
This is
Have
what
you
I
been
never
there?
heard of.
You have to go to the rallies to hear or watch the live feed to hear. You can't say you didn't hear.
Well, no. What I'm saying, I'm not gonna be like most people. I haven't heard it, but that doesn't mean that he hasn't said it.
Right,
Because a
exactly.
lot of people in this town, I notice what they do is, well, I never hear him
Yeah.
say it, so that must
That
not
doesn't
have
mean it
happened.
wasn't said.
Exactly.
Right.
What
Yeah.
I'm saying is, maybe he said it. I haven't heard it, but maybe he did say it.
He's also been talking, and he's also been talking about the decriminalization, not legalization of
Right.
marijuana. He's also been talking about how do we get lower collateralization, because collateralization is what is killing the middle class in this country. You have to bring life insurance for you, your ma, a house, the dog, and then you have to have $20,000 in the bank, and then the bank also want to hold. Over collateralization is killing this country. I've heard Dr. Dwayne Sands saying all through this platform, let's reduce collateralization, let's reduce predatory lending, let's see if we could stiff arm the banks into getting into arrangements where they only do this thing, that thing, and next
Okay,
thing.
I got
Let's
you.
reduce
I got you. Hold on.
understand.
So these are
Makes sense.
policy positions that I could say,
Fair
okay,
enough.
this thing makes sense, that makes sense, this
Fair
makes
enough.
sense. Like, let's talk
I
about
got
the
you.
DNA. The DNA came up with
No,
this.
now let's go to minutes.
Hold on.
We
Hold on.
get
No.
all the time.
Hold
Ron
on.
is a leader. Let's talk about another
Hold on. No.
leader.
What we can do it because you got to go.
Yeah.
We'll be here
I just
all
wanna show
day
you
if
the
we
difference in
debate
policy.
issue by issue.
If we
Okay,
talking
religion. We gotta
about
get
running a
religion.
drop court from here to Florida, it's stupid.
Yeah, but what I'm getting at, what I wanted to get at was, you clearly are in tune with his policy ideas. Do you feel as though the average person is as in tune with his policy
No, I do
ideas as
not.
you do? That was what my statement was
Exactly.
basically
But
saying.
is that
That's
as a result
basically
of
what
a
I'm
special
saying.
preference? That is as a result of I saw a live feed on Facebook, I click play, and I watch it, and I listen to what they
No,
say.
this
Okay,
is
but guess
this
what?
is this
You
is
know,
as
you prove his point. That guess what? If they don't like him, they ain't gonna click on that.
and my thing is, this is as a result of culture.
Yes.
Culturally, we don't care about policy. We don't.
It's who you like. They
We
don't
care
like
about
him.
if I like him or not, or if he with my party or not. That's basically how we vote, and it goes back to what we talked about last week. Personally, I don't feel as though the majority of our population is equipped to vote.
I saw you going on with that. I thought it was an interesting theory.
But
I think that also caters to the oligarchy in that only they children got good education.
No, but see, here's the
anyhow.
thing. I never said that only a certain group of people need to vote.
No,
I
when
never
we
said
talk
that.
about education, though.
Yeah, but what my thing was, I'm not saying okay, take away votes from people. What I'm saying is we are doing a poor job
In
of
educating
educating
people
and
on issues.
socializing
Okay.
our citizens
Okay, I can agree
to
with that.
make them, put them in a better
I realize
position
that with the
to make
referendum.
better
Yeah.
to make better decisions. So that's what I'm saying.
I've
So-
literally heard
let
people
me ask
say,
you a
my
question.
pastor say no.
Exactly,
But
and
that's
this
blind
is
loyalty again.
exactly my
Now,
point.
let me tell you something, right? I can say this to you all, right? When the thing first came up, right? I was of the view, man, this ain't making no sense. What we voting for these for, right? I was of that view. Because I really didn't think it was an issue we should have brought up. But then again, when I sat down and thought about it, I said, hold a second. I got sisters, I got female cousins, I got a mother, and I will have daughters someday. So at the end of the day, while it may not be something that's at the forefront of our society today, women's rights, as a matter of fact, it's even our rights too. A single man's right to pass on the citizenship to his child.
Yeah.
Those are issues that we should care about.
I
And that's
voted
what- and
against
that's
them.
what
I thought
voted.
they were too opaque. I couldn't really tell what they were trying to achieve, so I voted
No,
against them.
man. No,
See,
man.
and this is
No, man,
this,
you can't say
I think
You really voted against those bills.
Yeah, he
Yes.
did. He campaigned against him actually, and I think Leyvon.
I voted yes on number 3 though.
I know,
Yeah.
And I know- I know.
Not because I'm a misogynistic bigot. I voted on number 3 on the simple premise.
you vote. Listen, and remember before we got on there, I said I don't think that you are a misogynist, Leyvon. You are, by definition, a male chauvinist.
And I'm going to tell you, I voted yes for number 3 because I thought that was the only bill that offered women any protection. Being in
See,
the,
here's the thing, and this is like an example of blind loyalty, right?
Being
you
in the
are being
service-
blind loyal. You are being blindly loyal to your.
I have seen
To your
women have
gender.
women
So-
had their repatriations orchestrated
So-
because they had children for powerful
So
men.
really, you voted for number 3, which was largely put place to benefit men.
Listen.
You're switching it to say that you voted
I
for
thought
it
about women and
because
children
of
when I
women.
voted yes on number 3.
Okay,
So why did you not
so
vote
one and
for
two?
women?
I
So
thought
what
that
about?
they were opaque. I told you that already.
Oh my
No.
God.
2 was the one. 2 was the one for women.
4
and
was
marriage.
ambiguous.
How is 4 ambiguous?
How is that ambiguous?
I don't know what this
more
thing
details
asking
do you
me.
need to get?
What do you mean you're not asking you?
Let me tell you
Yeah,
what I
tell
voted and
me-
why.
tell-
See,
I
and this
voted
is
no on
blind
4 'cause it
loyalty
was
at its
ambiguous.
best, folks. Blind
Number
loyalty.
2 was just opaque. I couldn't figure out what was number 2. If I want a woman to
Number
be the
two.
citizen,
No.
child,
Number 2
two was
was
marriage.
was
Husband.
to husband.
Pass it
That's
on
when
to
you voted
marriage.
yes for, eh?
Under what condition? Then what are we gonna do with the 40,000 migrants that are already here? It's too opaque for me.
See, here's
Let's
the
move
thing.
past
Man,
it.
see, no.
No, but see, hold on. I'm glad that this
Right.
came up because now when we first started, he says that he doesn't feel that he has blind loyalty in any regard, and I think he just gave us a clear example of blind loyalty that he has. Right? We've gotten the clear
I think
example of
it is
blind
what it is,
loyalty
man.
from you,
Yeah, it is
and I'm
what it
sure I'm in certain ways I probably have blind loyalty as well. So this is not to cast judgment
Yeah.
on
No,
anybody
I
or to
Yeah.
this is just
Once
to
your philosophy, it is what it is. You
It's-
can stand by it. And that's his philosophy.
it's just to recognize an issue and address it.
And address
because that's all I care about.
I agree.
I don't care about, rowing back and forth to see who win or who right. What I care about is fixing issues. And I think this blind loyalty is something that is leading this country down the wrong path.
But here's the
because
thing,
you
right?
lack objectivity.
But Greg, what you realize what that blind loyalty really did, right? You literally had, you had the blind loyalty of religion and the blind
My
loyalty
religion
of
had nothing to
politics,
do with it.
and it came
No, it's
together.
not, no, you're not saying you personally.
No,
just
right, yeah, no,
on the
no,
whole.
no, no,
Because some
we said
people,
on the
like
whole,
you
right?
say, you
And it
one
came
woman
together-
said, my pastor say
Yeah.
vote no.
Right.
So that's an example.
And it came together in a cocktail, a very dangerous, caustic cocktail. Because you literally had that fermentation of religion and politics in one that caused people to vote against the universal rights of our individuals in this country.
And this is the danger of
That
the
is
blind
very
loyalty.
dangerous.
And I'm glad that you said religion because religion is one of the areas where most people
That's the biggest.
most
yeah.
people exhibit the
Listen,
most blind
let
loyalty
me just say,
ever.
right? Let me say, right? People may switch parties, right? People will switch strong groups. People ain't gonna switch their religion.
Well, I put it to you, some people ain't gonna switch party, and I think you was one of them. But here's the thing, right? Like, religion is even, in my opinion, probably worse.
Religion is worse than politics.
Especially in this, we
this
call
country.
ourselves a Christian nation. People subject themselves to this belief system, which is fine. I don't have a problem. If you want to choose to believe that the chair has created all things in the world and you should worship the chair, that's on you. As long as you don't impose that on anybody else or try to take away anything from anybody else because of your belief.
And
But
keep in
that's-
mind, right? He grew up in a Christian home.
Yeah, I grew up in the church.
Right.
My old man is a pastor right now.
And the thing is, right, he could tell you, right, when we was growing up, our grandma used to, when the thing was, she used to tell us, come hold the TV and pray the TV. You know, when we were small, I telling you,
Yeah.
my brother,
And see,
and
my-
she was serious with that.
And my thing is, see,
Me
what
and him
happened?
probably the two most agnostic of our family. Yeah. He's a little more agnostic than I am.
I'm an atheist.
Oh,
I
he's
completely
atheist.
offer the
Oh, he's
bandwagon.
atheist. I'm a little agnostic.
Completely
In
off
that-
of the
in that-
bandwagon.
in that I
And
don't-
here's why.
I don't fall into the Christianity theme thing. I believe
Here's
there's a
why.
higher power, right? Now,
Let me-
my cousin is.
I am a
Out
liberal
of that.
Christian as well. I
Let me-
believe that there is a higher power. I can understand people like Collie in that for a long time they made us believe that God was this dude standing on a cloud with a
Yeah.
lightning bulb that was just ready to. And any
And
God,
a lot of people still believe
and
that.
any God like that, I have no interest in serving.
I
Yes.
say that all the time.
Exactly.
Now, for me, atheism is a bit of a stretch, and I'll tell you why. Everything is a system, and someone had to put this system in place. Who is that person? I don't know. What does he look like? I don't know.
Okay,
is
well,
it a she?
well,
I don't know.
Well, let me ask you.
But whoever that is, I
let
think
me-
they deserve some thanks and
here's the thing.
appreciation.
Let me ask you the question that could end all of that. That I know you can't answer. Who created the poison that created the system?
Hello.
We could do
well,
this all day.
again.
So who created this poison?
Again.
This oh so powerful,
Omnipotent
all-knowing being that he just existed. So how can this oh so powerful being
Always
just exist, but the earth not be able to just exist? So this is why it doesn't make sense to me, because there's no way you can defend that argument. If you believe that this thing was always there, then you cannot knock people who believe the earth was always there, because you all believe the same
I don't
thing.
have an issue with the earth always being there, but then who was responsible for mankind? Because the earth could not have created that.
Why not? Because so the earth could create trees, the earth could create rivers, the earth could create all this life, animals, but can't create mankind?
I don't think that the earth created mankind. I believe that there has to be a supremacy, even if it's just an energy, like they have said in science. And that's why I like Scientologists, because somehow they've been able to really put some things to give you some, whatever that energy is.
We got to get JC on this show.
Yeah, whatever,
you can't
whatever
explain
that energy is, whoever it is, whatever it is, I believe that there has to be a supreme energy being, whatever you want to call it, that is responsible for
Why?
That's what I believe. That's what I believe.
You know why? Like, why do we have to? What I don't get is we create this fairy tale, right? Why do we have to create this fairy tale just so that we can say we know where we come from?
No.
What's wrong? What's wrong with saying I don't know?
It has nothing to do with. Nothing just exists.
Exactly. That's my point.
And so I'm saying to you that
that's my point.
I'm
Leyvon.
saying to you that let us go with the argument of the Scientologist. Okay, the energy is not destroyed or created. It's just transfer. Or it's not destroyed. It's always just transferred from one form to the other. And I'm not going to get very deep on religious arguments because you have me there, right?
Okay.
But I am not convinced in my mind. And I tell people this all the time. I make this joke all the time. When atheists pee after needing to pee all day, I have no clue what they say, because it had to be a caring, compassionate someone that cared about me to give me the ability to pee after an hour. After an hour drinking beers and needing to pee, I don't know what else you say other than thank God. I have no clue what atheists say. Because...
Why? Hold on. Wait a second.
In my mind...
No, because
but why does it...
Why does it... cultural thing, though.
Why does
it... In my mind...
Because guess what, right? If you was in an Arab, you say Allah Akbar.
Exactly.
Which again is a dissertation to a superior being.
So let me ask you. So why is it different if I say, oh, thank you, I had to pee? Why does it have to be attributed to some being?
I never said it's different. I'm saying that when
you say you don't understand.
I don't understand who
you know what I don't understand?
Like you do.
I don't understand why you have to attribute that to some being that you don't know
someone
exists.
That care about me and love me and wanted me to not suffer.
I know who that person is.
That I was able to
mommy.
Release this.
That's your mommy.
Your daddy.
Yeah. Well,
that's who that person is.
And your grandparents.
Possibly.
You understand? So I just think I think this is where the greatest blind loyalty lies, because at least with
again, even in my Christian views, I'm not blindly loyal. In that there are some Christians, and I'm sure you found this in your walk, that from you say atheists, they just want to splash you with holy water and walk out the room.
Yes. All the time. Most of them.
Again, like I say, I mean,
let me tell you why I had to disassociate myself from Christianity. Let me tell you why. When you look at how Christianity was created to begin with, Christianity is a combination of Judaism and paganism, all to control the Roman Empire. That's all it was. And so we are using this Roman-centric religion, and it was imposed upon us black people to control us.
See, the theocracy of it,
control.
The theocracy of it, I'm not interested in.
Right.
You understand? Like, I have all of the Hail Mary, full of grace, I have no interest in none of that foolishness.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I believe that there is a consciousness, that there is an energy, that once you tap into this energy, created by whomever, whether it is you, whatever it is, that energy makes you behave differently. That makes you not want to kill people. That makes you want to be a responsible citizen.
Well, you know what? You are agnostic, you know.
That's what I'm saying. He's agnostic.
No,
I'm agnostic.
But see, here it is.
I call that energy God.
No, here it is. And again,
agnostic
by definition, you are agnostic.
Yeah,
you are not a Christian, but you are holding on to that because of
that energy.
Our culture.
I call that energy God.
Right.
Not because
but
I was
you said
inculcated
earlier, you said the God who that's in the Bible that is standing on the cloud ready to smite everybody that doesn't follow his 10 commandments. You have no interest in that nigga. That means you are not Christian.
Right.
You are agnostic. It's okay. It's not a disease. You understand? It's okay, Leyvon. That's fine. And I like people like you because you are obviously objective. You are not blindly just, I don't want to hear it, like you said, splash with the holy water, no, come from around me. You are open to discussion, and you are not saying that the other person is wrong and you are right. You are just saying that you simply subscribe to something,
this is what
this is what you subscribe to. And that is, in my view, that is a lot better. That is way better.
I call that thing, though, Christianity.
You call it that, but that's not what it is.
Okay.
I mean, if we go in by sheer definition,
Well, I would
that's
have to
not
look
what
up
it
the
is.
definition.
Like I said, I'm a proud agnostic.
You could look it up, and when you
I will.
look up agnostic, and you may be like, you know
Proud
what?
to be
Because an agnostic person doesn't believe in God per se, but they do believe in the existence of a higher power. They just don't attribute that to a particular God.
Exactly.
I call that higher power God, though.
Well, I mean, you could call it what you
Yeah, you
want,
call it whatever you want to call it.
but
That's
it's
that's your ability
it's
to
not
do
the God in the Christian Bible.
Right. You're not following that God.
So you, by definition, are agnostic and not Christian. And I say it's okay. And see, this is what I'm talking about. Like a lot of people reject it because culturally they feel
It has
it's
nothing to do
so.
with culture. Listen,
It is because if
culture.
you grew up somewhere else
Bro,
in a
that's
different
culture.
culture, you would not be Christian.
Thank you.
More than likely.
You need to be Muslim. You need to be Hindu.
You understand?
you
So
need
it's
to be in the
because you
Bhagavad
grew up in
Gita,
this nation
all
around these
that
people.
stuff, you know.
It's because you grew up in this nation around these people where Christianity is the dominant culture.
but we've bred Muslims, we've bred atheists. Like I've said, that I
We
wouldn't-
haven't bred them. They are the
Evolved.
ones that are either they came here as Muslim or they are objective and they chose to subscribe to something else. We don't breed them. Would we breed our Christians?
Christians.
Well, I have also said that I would not vote in an election of anything for somebody that was an atheist, and it's very simple.
Okay, tell me why.
I have no core beliefs to tie this person to.
Let me put some.
If I see, for instance, let's just say Perry Christie,
Go ahead.
he claims to be a Christian.
Go ahead.
If he passes or if he tables a legislation in the House of Assembly that it is cool to diddle little boys at the age of 13, I could say to myself, what the, and you calling yourself a Christian? Because based on what I know the Christian Bible to represent, that isn't a Christian view.
Are you
now, does
sure?
that stop him?
Hold on. How well do you know the Bible?
Well, I've not read
Don't put your foot in the trap.
I've not
now,
read
Leyvon.
cover to cover. I have not read cover to cover.
Don't put your foot in the trap because I say that to say this. There are many horrific things in that Bible.
Thank you.
Do you know that the Bible in many instances supports slavery?
In the purest of forms. And says we
Do you
must-
know that?
That's Old Testament.
No, listen,
No,
it's
but
in the
that ain't
Bible.
no-
I don't care what
Even
testament
in
it
the New
is.
Testament,
I don't
they
care
still
if
have
it's in
slaves.
Leviticus and in Mark, Luke, John, whatever it is. Because if you could pick something out the Old Testament to quote as Christian, then I could pick that to quote as Christian.
Right, because the question
So
is, right,
which Christian you talking about?
So if the Old Testament is
So-
relevant, why do we still have it?
So you say you don't have nothing to hold an atheist by, right? If I was to use that same logic, I would not want a Christian to run nothing in this country.
Thank you.
Because which Christian? Because it supports rape, it supports slavery, it supports genocide, it supports killing, it supports all kind of bad things. So I wouldn't do it. I know what I hold in a Christian by, what the Bible say, and the Bible says a lot of terrible things. Now I can say something I saw on Facebook today that will blow your mind, right? You may have seen it already as well. They always like to say morals come from Christianity, which is bogus.
Because
I don't
morals
think so.
is around
It's
long before
bogus.
Christianity.
I don't think so.
It's bogus. Morals are doing what you know is right despite
this.
what you are told.
Yeah.
Right.
Religion is doing what you are told despite what is right.
What is right. Because guess what? Religion was
So-
justifying slavery. Religion was justifying
Right.
black for women. to
So
have
when you
rights.
say you don't have more anything to hold an atheist by, I think I don't get that. I don't understand it, and I hear people say it a lot. They act as though atheists are some people that just don't have no
nothing
moral
against-
compass.
I have nothing. I don't believe that an atheist
No, but
has
you see,
no
and here's the thing.
morality.
You can't say that
I
you.
just don't know what to gauge his morality
What do you
by.
mean?
But here's
Why
the thing.
not? You could gauge
You
it
could
by
say
other
that about
men.
anybody.
Right.
I could say that
I
about
could
a
go to the
Christian.
Quran and gauge a Muslim's morality
No,
by the
no,
Quran.
no, no, no,
can't
no,
do
no.
that.
You shouldn't do that.
You can't do that.
What you should do
There
is
is no handbook for me to gauge the atheists.
Why do you need a
Whether it
handbook
could-
to gauge a
It
person?
could be. You could be a pig worshiper. If you all have a book that you all read for your worship ceremonies, I could read this and say, okay.
Okay, so you're
this
telling
is what
me-
the pig so I know that the pig worshiper will not table
No, man.
legislation.
They-
to
But
kill
you
pigs.
don't know.
they-
You don't know.
that's
You
a
know how
lot.
much Christians you could get out of the Bible. You could get so many different kinds of Christians.
yeah.
So how do you know if someone says I am
Okay,
a
let's
Christian?
watch this,
How
right?
do you know
Right?
which principles they
Right?
are taking out the
Okay,
Bible and living
okay,
by?
Let's look at world leaders, right? In history, right? You had Saladin, Islam. You had Adolf Hitler, Christian, right? You got Benjamin Netanyahu, Jew. You got Vladimir Putin, Orthodox. See what I'm talking about? So, the question you have to ask is this: what have they done for humanity? Not their religion, but what have they done for humanity?
You look at their character,
Look at their
not their
character.
religion.
I
That's
agree.
what you should
I agree
base
with you
someone
100
by.
I agree with that 100 million.
But you can't if you say
I'm
that you
saying
don't
to you,
know.
though, I am saying to you, that in an election of any sort,
Okay.
I would not vote for a proclaimed atheist on this simple premise.
That's blind
that
loyalty
I
again.
do
That's
not
an
have
example right
any-
there.
I have nothing to affix him to, and that
Okay,
is a challenge
so
for me.
we didn't grow up together, but I think you have an idea of the person I am. You telling me simply because I identify as an atheist, one that does not believe in God,
If I would vote for you,
you
in an
would not vote
election,
for me.
It would be very difficult for me to do so.
You
Why?
wouldn't vote for Greg?
Again,
even if I have shown you the character, I've shown you the qualities to be a good leader, I've given policies that you completely subscribe to and agree with, you simply wouldn't vote for me because of that?
In that instance, I may have to consider it gravely, but,
See, but
I probably would still come out and say no.
That's blind loyalty, and that is dangerous.
That is
because
that is
what-
one that I am affixed
what
to,
that-
and it's not because I hate atheists.
No.
Everybody has their contribution to the world.
What it says
It's just
is-
that I like to be able. Nissans make a car. Let's just look at the B14. They made the B14, the B15, the B16. No, it's 5 different types of engines. They all have a principal mechanical mechanism in the way the Nissan engine works. You understand what I'm saying? Whereas if you have a Suzuki, whether it's a Suzuki Carry or Swift, the engines are all the same, no matter which type of the Suzuki you get. You understand? So I have a core set of values that I could go to and say, that don't look Christian to me.
That's comparing apples.
But then that's the thing. That's
Again,
That's comparing apples. You know?
again,
you ask
yeah.
about
I think that's a poor analogy.
okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I
that
think
is
it's
the
a poor
basis
analogy.
upon which I personally would have a difficulty with electing a proclaimed atheist.
And folks, this is blind loyalty. We've just proven that regardless of how
Yes.
right this person may be
Yes.
for the job,
Yes.
and I'd like to go further, but we know Leyvon has to leave
Yeah.
right now, so we're gonna have to end this one. But regardless of facts given to somebody, they would still hold allegiance to a certain thing. And that there is blind loyalty, and it is extremely dangerous because it causes intelligent people like my brother Leyvon here to make what I would consider irrational decisions based solely on their allegiance to a particular ideal or person or whatever it is they align themselves with.
before I
And
go
that's
though-
extremely dangerous.
Before I go though, being Christian doesn't mean that I would only vote for a Christian. I would vote for a Muslim.
No,
I would
no,
vote
no,
for
no,
a
no.
Jew. I would vote for a Hindu. I would vote for a Scientologist. I would vote
Okay.
for a Buddhist.
So basically, you're saying that
That's
you cannot
kinda
vote
worse
for-
to me.
so that means you
I'm
cannot vote for
saying
anyone that's not a part
I'm
of an
say-
organized religion.
What I'm saying is, I don't want it to be perceived that if you're not Christian, you're
No,
a
no,
no-go
no,
for
no,
me.
no.
That's not at all. I think that would be blind loyalty.
No,
I think
no.
for me to say only Christians
But
need
Lee-
to fly.
No, but it is-
that's blind loyalty.
It works in different ways,
but Lee,
though.
what we're saying is this: the issue isn't Christianity. The issue is religion itself. That system of control.
I like
creates
to have
blind
people.
loyalty.
I like to have principles to affix people.
What if
to
I
my
told
will.
you, and this is my religion, what I live off of. I believe in love, life, and happiness,
Love, life,
and
and
peace.
and peace.
This is the core
But
of
there
what
are
I believe
sometimes
in.
in this world where we will need war.
I
Why?
disagree.
Why do we need war?
We need war because we have a lot of people that are blindly loyal to certain ideals, and that's why
That's the
war will
reason
continue
war
to
exists,
exist.
that's right.
Because of blind loyalty. But anyhow, folks, this was a wonderful discussion. I wish we could have gone a lot longer because we could
Yeah.
have dug a lot deeper.
Yeah.
But like I said, Leyvon has to go. He's a very busy man. And I do appreciate him for coming and
I
taking
flew
the time
in
out.
from the airport to come see you.
Yes, and
Yeah.
I greatly appreciate that.
Yeah.
You usually come through anytime. I could be last minute. You come in because one thing I know, you like to talk and I like to talk too. So we could always have but the good thing is we disagree, but we can always be cordial. We have a discussion.
Yeah,
we don't have to agree, but we ain't here fighting and at each other's throats. We can disagree.
Right.
We just agree to disagree, and we need more of that in our society. So once again, I just want to say thank you guys for taking part. Naldo, thank you, Leyvon, and until next time.
All right, guys.